As you may know, when it comes to collecting, my primary focus is Jabba the Hutt and related characters, but I've been doing this for close to 15 years, so I have most of the items that have been made. What gets me excited now are the more obscure and unusual items, and I still search eBay on a regular basis, hoping to find something that I've never seen before. That happened more than 10 years ago when I saw this item first pop up on eBay. It was a painted model of Jabba and some other characters from the palace, done in a kind of caricature-like style, and at the time I had never seen it before. But as I recall, they wanted quite a bit of money for it, and it was also coming from the UK, so I wasn't very confident that it would even survive being shipped overseas. So reluctantly, I passed on it. Sometime later, this version of the model appeared on eBay, also from the UK, and also for a fair amount of money. So I didn't buy this one either, but I was really intrigued by the model and wanted to know more about its background. The style really reminded me of the Spitting Image, which was some puppets from the UK that I first became aware of in the Phil Collins video Land of Confusion, but it's also a TV show where they sort of parody various celebrities and politicians and so forth. So I thought maybe it was from the UK originally, and having those two kits come from the UK seemed to support that. I remember posting this thread to the Rebel Scum forums in October of 2012, asking for any information people might have about these kits, and honestly, I didn't really get a lot at that point, but about 3 years later, in 2015, I was in Japan visiting, and, you know, I like to search Yahoo Auctions Japan, that's their version of eBay essentially, for interesting stuff that I might not be able to find in the US. I was quite surprised to find that there was an unassembled kit of this available on Yahoo Auctions. It was an auction style listing, so I ended up bidding on it and got it for right around 150 bucks, I think. Here is the kit I received. You can see it's got lots of parts that you need to assemble and so forth. We'll look more at the kit itself in just a moment, but I wanted to talk a little bit more about the background of this kit. At the point that I got it from Yahoo Auctions, I didn't really have any more information about it. I asked the person who sold it to me if they knew anything, and they said that they had just gotten it from a lot of toys that they were selling off and things, so they didn't know anything about it. But in the intervening years, since I got the kit, I have managed to track down some information about it. Chris Georgoulias has a site called the Toy Shop Scrapbook, which is just clippings from old Toy Shop magazines. Toy Shop was kind of a pre-internet way for people to buy collectible toys and so forth, so you can see they have ads here for various things, and it's pretty interesting to look through because some prices for things are way more than they would be now, and others are just way less. Anyway, I was looking through there, and I was surprised to see this listing for this very model kit. It says Monster Shop, Super Deformed Star Wars Diorama, $200, and this is from February of 1997, so we know that it's from 1997 at least, but it doesn't really tell us a whole lot about the background. However, I was able to find some more information. In 2015, this information was added to the thread on Rebel Scum after I had posted some information about the model kit to my own site. According to Steve York, this kit was made in Japan in the late 80s or early 90s by a modeler named Eiichi Mogi, who had a company called Monster Shop. It was exclusively sold through Wonder Festival, which is an annual toy show, I guess you'd say, in Tokyo. But they also had some sort of an agreement to sell through Creature Features, which is a shop in Los Angeles, and apparently also a shop in London, which is why we had those two pop up from the UK. But obviously this is a pretty rare kit, and not something that you would find all that often. It was really satisfying to finally get some resolution to this, because you often don't find this kind of information if you're looking for it in the collecting world. If you're looking at something really obscure like this, it's not uncommon just to not have any information about it. But thankfully, I was able to fill in most of the gaps, even though it did take a number of years. And as a matter of fact, I found some more information just in the last few months, which I will share with you at the end of the video. But first, I want to take a look at the kit itself. So here is the kit with all of the pieces assembled. I did some light sort of trimming and sanding in places, but that's about it. I didn't glue them to the base or anything like that. And I really find this style to be fascinating, and I'd like to take a look at each of these characters individually, if I may, starting with Bib Fortuna here. He's very interesting. You can see where I got the the spitting image comparison there. Definitely this extreme caricature does remind me of that. Reminds me of Mad Magazine also. They are, of course, so-called super deformed figures, so they have giant heads. But unlike the super deformed figures I showed earlier on the channel, these ones will actually stand up just fine on their own, which is nice. So you don't have to worry about them having a stand or anything. Let's see, we can look at Salacious Crumb next. He's got an interesting sculpt, kind of a bug eye or a pop eye there. And of course he's been sculpted so that he can sit on the edge of the throne there. Next we have Leia, who is one of the more memorable sculpts, I think. It really does resemble Carrie Fisher, or at least a caricature of her. Look at that nose, that's something else. We have, in addition to her, we have a chain that kind of is supposed to attach to her neck that I have Jabba holding here. Jabba himself is actually a little on the small side compared to the rest of the characters. You'd think he might be a little bit bigger. He has a similar pop-eyed look compared to Salacious Crumb, for example, and giant lips. Very interesting take on the character, I think. He's almost solid resin. There's a little bit concave area here for whatever reason, but other than that, it seems to be pretty much solid. So he's got some heft to him, despite not being gigantic or anything. Definitely one of the more unique sculpts of Jabba I've seen, though. Next, we have this Jawa, which is a character I think a lot of people forget he was even in the throne room, but of course there was a Jawa there with a little palm frond that they used to, to fan Jabba and keep him cool. And it's interesting, they've sculpted the face. Looks almost like a frog, doesn't it? Or some sort of weird droid, but I suppose when you paint that black, it'll look a lot more like a Jawa. We have C-3PO here, just kind of standing there. But he does look a little bit aghast somehow. Lip is a little bit of a strange thing. I'm not sure if that's something that needs to be kind of ground away. There's a little bit under the lip there that I may need to take care of. And next we have Boba Fett. He's got kind of a thin antenna there on his helmet, which I'm glad did not break on the way back from Japan. I hope I don't break it now. I hope I don't have to put like foreshadowing here at the bottom. But yeah, I think it'll be all right. This resin, I'm not sure what it is, but it seems very strong and actually fairly light, generally speaking. So it should be fine. Last character is Han Solo in Carbonite, of course. And again, I can certainly see the resemblance to Harrison Ford there, despite being extremely exaggerated. You can see there's a little bit of pockmarks here from bubbles when they cast this in the resin, but 99.9% of everything is completely bubble free and no problems whatsoever. It's a very high quality kit, I think. The railing here is a separate piece, and you're supposed to, I guess, glue that onto the throne later on, and the throne itself had all of these gargoyles be separate pieces that you attached yourself as well. If we go through and look at the bottom, this is the only clue I had for a long time about who made this. It just says Monstar Shop with an A. I think that was an unintentional misspelling, actually, maybe due to the language barrier, because everything else I've seen has referred to the sort of company as Monster Shop. But yeah, this is nicely cast base as well. So I mentioned that there was some more information about the kit. One is that it appeared in Amazing Figure Modeler magazine. They showed someone doing a paint-up of the kit called Jabba's Joint, and this, generally speaking, I think turned out pretty well. They did, for some reason, decide to alter Leia and kind of tone down the nose and caricature aspects, and I don't really think it's an improvement, to be honest. A week or so ago, I posted some photos of this kit on my Instagram, link in the video description, and I was very interested to see that the French Collection, who's someone that I follow on Instagram as well, had posted a picture of his own version of this kit, and as it turned out, it was the same exact one that I had seen on eBay all those years ago and that I showed a picture of earlier, although his picture of it looks way better. By the way, the R2-D2 with the little Kenny Baker peeking out of it there on the left is apparently not part of this kit and was not even made by the same company, but somebody in the UK, I guess, when they were building up the kit, decided to include it. They also didn't have Boba Fett in this version, as you may be able to tell. Finally, this appeared on eBay not very long ago. It's an unassembled version of this kit, similar to the one that I got in Japan, and it's being sold for $3,495, which is really high in my opinion, but you never know, these old kits can go for a fair amount of money. However, I will say I watched the auction just to see, if I could come back to it and see if anyone bought it, and they almost immediately gave me an offer of 50% off. So if you really want this, you could probably get them to come down in price a fair amount. Interestingly, and I didn't notice this right away, it is being sold by a seller called C Features, and if you click through, it's actually Creature Features, the same store that I mentioned in LA that originally imported and sold these from Japan in the 90s. So we've come full circle in another way, I guess, as well. This auction, by the way, had this picture of the kit from the box, which I don't have on mine, and I guess this is kind of the official buildup of the kit. It's kind of interesting in a way, though, because it's got Han Solo there in the background, kind of just floating on a wire, and then in the foreground on the right, there's a Gamorrean guard, apparently, which was never part of the kit, as far as I can tell. I don't know why they included it in the photo. I don't think they ever actually released this as a model, but interesting to see nonetheless. When I first got this, it was just parts in baggies, and it didn't seem like you could really appreciate it like that. I wasn't so hardcore of a collector that I thought I shouldn't open it and maybe put it on display. But for years and years, I just sort of kept it in this form, raw resin. But I've gotten to the point where I think I maybe should actually finish this up and paint it. So I think I'm going to be doing that in a separate video. So if you're interested in seeing that, be sure and get subscribed so you won't miss it. I don't know how long it's going to actually take for me to paint this, but, at some point in the next few weeks or months, I will be posting a video about that. Anyway, I hope this was as interesting for you as it was for me. I'm just fascinated by this kind of kit, the very obscure kind of collectibles that not everybody has, are what really interests me these days. So, yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again very soon. This video was brought to you with the help of my patrons from Patreon, including these Palace VIPs, Angelica Brady and Jesper Mrutu. I really appreciate all of your support. If you'd like to help support the channel for as little as $1 a month, you can go to my Patreon page in the video description and get some more information.